Most people think the final warning before a disaster would sound dramatic, sirens, panic, screaming. But sometimes, the last warning is completely silent. A smile in a photo, a shadow nobody notices, a person standing in the background, or one picture, taken seconds before everything changed forever. There's something disturbing about looking at a normal photo and realizing the people inside it had no idea what was coming next. They were laughing, relaxed, alive. And somehow the camera captured their final peaceful moment before disaster erased everything. Tonight on The Dark Brief, we're looking at real stories connected to the last photos taken before a tragedy struck. Some became evidence, some revealed warning signs later, and some still leave people with questions nobody can answer. And before we begin, if dark mysteries and true stories interest you, subscribe now and turn notifications on. Because the deeper we go into these stories, the darker they become. One of the most haunting photos ever discovered came from a group of hikers standing near a snowy mountain range. The image looked harmless. Friends smiling beside a cliff, backpacks in the snow, clear skies overhead. But years later, investigators noticed something terrifying hidden in the background. Far behind the group, a massive avalanche had already started falling down the mountain. Nobody noticed it. Minutes later, the snow buried the entire area. Rescue teams later recovered a damaged camera buried under the ice, and inside it, that final photo survived. What makes the image horrifying isn't the avalanche itself. It's the expressions on their faces. Completely calm, completely unaware. And honestly, that's what makes last photos so disturbing. The viewer knows what happens next. The people inside the picture do not. Another famous image came from a crowded hotel party during a music festival. The photo showed people dancing under flashing lights. Everyone looked happy, drinks raised, friends hugging. But one detail changed everything. Near the ceiling above the crowd, thin smoke had already started spreading. Nobody noticed because the music was too loud and the lights kept changing colors. Minutes later, the fire exploded through the building. Survivors later said the atmosphere changed from celebration to panic in less than 1 minute. That photo eventually became part of fire safety investigations because it captured the exact moment disaster silently began. And the scary part is, if you saw the image without context, you'd never think anything was wrong. There was also a family vacation photo taken near the ocean shortly before a deadly tsunami. Parents smiling, children playing near the water. Everything looked peaceful. But experts later realized something strange. The ocean behind them had already started pulling backward unnaturally far from the shore. Most people wouldn't notice it. But after the tsunami struck, scientists confirmed the photo accidentally captured one of nature's warning signs moments before the massive wave arrived. The family disappeared along with hundreds of others near the coast. And stories like this make people wonder something terrifying. How many hidden warnings exist around us every day without anyone realizing? One of the strangest cases involved college students staying in a cabin deep in the woods. During the night, they took a group photo beside a campfire, 6 students smiling, flames lighting their faces, dark forest behind them. Later, people zoomed into the background and noticed something disturbing. Between the trees, someone appeared to be standing there watching them. Police first assumed it was another student. It wasn't. Everyone visible in the image was already accounted for. Hours later, heavy rain triggered a massive landslide that destroyed the cabin area. Search teams later recovered the damaged phone containing the image. And once the photo spread online, theories exploded everywhere. Some believed it was just a stranger hidden in the woods. Others thought the figure wasn't there when the photo was taken at all. Nobody ever proved anything, but the image became famous because it captured a normal moment seconds before tragedy. And honestly, that theme keeps repeating in every story tonight. The calm before disaster, the silence before panic, the final normal second before everything changes forever. Another disturbing photo came from inside a commercial airplane before takeoff. A passenger snapped a picture through the window, showing airport workers outside and travelers seated calmly nearby. Nothing looked unusual, but investigators later noticed Faint smoke reflected near one engine. Minutes after takeoff, the engine failed catastrophically. The plane crashed less than 10 miles away. When investigators recovered the camera and developed the film, the image became important evidence connected to the crash. But what disturbed people most were the passengers themselves. Relaxed, comfortable, completely unaware they were looking at their final moments alive. And maybe that's why these photos affect people so deeply. Because the images look ordinary. If they looked terrifying immediately, they wouldn't feel as disturbing. The horror only appears later. A teenager once posted a selfie while standing in line for a roller coaster at an amusement park. Behind him, the ride climbed high into the sky filled with screaming passengers. He captioned the photo, "About to ride this monster." Minutes later, the roller coaster malfunctioned during operation. The image went viral after investigators noticed one employee in the background staring toward damaged tracks near the top of the ride. Workers had reportedly heard strange sounds earlier that day, but the ride stayed open anyway. Again, the warning existed before the disaster happened. Nobody paid attention until afterward. A photographer near an active volcano captured another unforgettable image. Tourists gathered near a viewing platform while smoke rose behind the mountain. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual, but volcanologists later noticed cracks spreading through the ground beneath the tourists' feet. Moments later, the eruption intensified violently. Several people never escaped. The camera survived buried beneath ash for years before recovery crews found it. And somehow, the final image still remained intact. Think about that. A single photo surviving destruction just to reveal the final peaceful moment before catastrophe. That almost feels unreal. But real life often feels darker than fiction. There was also a group of urban explorers filming inside abandoned underground tunnels for social media content. At one point, one explorer took a picture down a long corridor because the shadows looked creepy. Later, viewers noticed something terrifying. Water had already started rising along the tunnel walls in the background of the image. Nobody noticed at the time. The group continued deeper underground before sudden flooding rushed through the tunnel system after heavy rain above the city. Emergency teams searched for days. Only damaged equipment was recovered. And once again, the final image became horrifying only after people understood what happened next. That's why stories like these stay inside people's minds, because they force you to realize how quickly normal life can disappear. 1 second, everything feels safe. The next second, it isn't. A rescue diver once shared a story after helping recover belongings from a collapsed bridge disaster. Among the items discovered underwater was a waterproof camera. Most images inside were random tourist photos, but the final picture showed cars moving calmly across the bridge only moments before structural failure sent vehicles crashing into the river. The diver later said something that disturbed people deeply. He said the hardest part wasn't the destruction. It was seeing everyone inside the image acting completely normal, nobody trying to escape, nobody panicking, because nobody knew. And that might be the most terrifying truth behind every disaster in history. Most people never realize the exact second their normal life ends. But cameras sometimes capture it forever. There's also a darker side to these photos online. People obsess over analyzing every detail. Shadows, reflections, faces hidden in backgrounds. Sometimes the theories are fake, but sometimes strange details genuinely exist. That uncertainty is what keeps people staring at these images for hours. Humans desperately want warning signs to make sense. We want to believe disasters can always be predicted. But reality doesn't work that way. Sometimes danger arrives silently, slowly, almost invisibly, and the camera notices before humans do. One of the most chilling stories happened near a coastal town where residents reported strange ocean activity before a major disaster. Fish washed ashore. Birds suddenly disappeared. The water behaved strangely. Most officials ignored the warnings. A local news crew gathered several residents near the beach for a quick photo during filming. Everyone smiled naturally while calm waves rolled behind them. But far in the distance, the ocean surface looked wrong, uneven, almost lifted upward. Hours later, a massive underwater earthquake triggered devastating waves that destroyed huge parts of the coastline. Experts later realized the ocean in the background of the photo had already started reacting before the disaster officially began. Nature warned them, silently, and nobody understood the message in time. That story became famous because it revealed one terrifying truth. The world sometimes changes before humans realize it's changing. And cameras don't care whether we understand what they capture. They simply record reality exactly as it exists, which means somewhere right now. Ordinary photos are being taken all over the world. Family dinners, vacations, concerts, road trips. Nobody taking those pictures believes disaster is nearby because humans survive by assuming tomorrow exists. But every once in a while, a camera accidentally captures the final peaceful moment before reality proves otherwise. And after tonight, you'll probably never look at background details in photos the same way again. So next time you take a picture somewhere, look carefully, because history has shown something terrifying. Sometimes the last photo before disaster looks completely normal, and that's exactly what makes it so disturbing. If any story tonight genuinely disturbed you, comment below which one felt the creepiest to you personally. And if you want more dark mystery stories like these, share this video and subscribe to The Dark Brief, because there's always another disturbing story waiting in the shadows.